Hello, it's Phil here for Digital DJ Tips, and today we have the Gemini CNTRL-7 DJ controller. This is a compact and lightweight and portable DJ controller. It's also absolutely brilliant value for money when you look at what you actually get, because not only is this a 2-deck DJ controller, but it also has enough outputs and inputs to warrant a controller 3 or 4 times the price. It has line and phono inputs, so you can plug in 2 record decks or 2 CDs or a combination thereof, with poles which allow you to put the earth lead from a record deck, from a Technics deck, safely onto there. And then when they're plugged in, the mixer section with a little switch becomes a true analog, true standalone mixer. So you can have digital music playing through your software, which we'll talk about in a bit, but also you can have 2 CD players or 2 record decks, or as I say, a combination, playing through here, and the bass, the mid and the treble and the gain controls and the crossfader and all the mixer controls work perfectly normally. Now, the unit is USB powered, which means you don't need to have an external power supply for it, but if you want to use it as a true standalone mixer, which means your computer doesn't even have to be plugged into it, then you do need the external power supply because something has to give it power. But you can close your DJ software down completely, and this thing will carry on running as a standalone mixer with just the USB providing power to it. So that's a really useful feature, and it's unheard of at this price actually. So it has great inputs, also has professional microphone inputs, an XLR and a TRS with a volume control for the mic. But more than that, round the back there are XLR outputs, which is professional balance outputs, as well as master output, record output and booth output. And the master output has got its own volume control, and the booth output has its own volume control too. And the record output will record a straight clean level which is independent of both of those volume controls. So it means that you can alter the volume in your DJ booth, and you can also alter the overall volume out on the dance floor, and you can be recording your set as well, and it's keeping it level and forgetting about the alterations. So there's another professional feature there. And finally, 1/4 inch and 8 inch headphones, so you can plug little or big headphones in. So you know, there's a lot of input and output features there that belie the price of this unit really. So what gives? Well, it's built to a budget. It's firm, it's a plastic unit, but it is firm and it is built reasonably well. However, you can see in the crossfader and the scratchiness of the line faders that it is built to a budget. You're not getting pro grade equipment here. Having said that, the jog wheels are really nice to use. They're solid, there's no give in them, and they feel nice. So there's top marks for the jog wheels, although the jog wheel mapping on Virtual DJ, which is the software that comes with it, is a little bit ropey. I mean, it's pretty good. It's 8 out of 10 on scratching. When you spin back, it's perfect. But when you're spinning forward, it just isn't anything like, you know, it would be if it were a piece of vinyl or a properly mapped jog wheel. So there's a little bit of a few marks lost with the jogs. The other functions where I don't believe this controller is near the best of breed are VU meters. They're quite clumsy. They're quite big, but there's only 7 bars on each one. They don't change colour, and I found actually I could make the unit distort when the VU meters were nowhere near the top, which was a little bit worrying. Luckily you can look at the VUs on the software, so there's no real issue there as regards getting proper use out of the system, but it's a bit disappointing when you can't trust your VUs. The looping as well is only what's called manual looping. Now the loop area on this has got very few functions, and what you can't do is just say, okay, give me a 4-bar loop, and it clicks in and you've got a 4-bar loop. You have to manually set the in and the out point. And there is a kind of workaround in the software to do that, but the software, Virtual DJ LE, a light version of Virtual DJ that's supplied with this controller, is deliberately tied very closely to what the unit can do, so there's not really very much you can change in the software. You can't change the mappings and anything like that, so you can't actually alter the way that this works. The effects, the controls are fine on here, but the thing is, with the light version of Virtual DJ that's provided with this controller, there's only so many effects. There's a couple of vinyl effect, so it's kind of like the slow down effect and the backspin effect. Did you like my backspin there? But apart from that, a couple of beat effects that chop things up a bit and a flanger, and that's it. There's no echoes, no delays, no filters. Filters is a big one. It's nice to have filter on a DJ controller, but there's no filters on here. So while the effects section works fine, it hasn't really got very much control in the software as supplied. However, one really good thing about the controller, which I don't believe actually exists on any other virtual DJ controller at all, is this small section here, which is designed to operate the sampler. Virtual DJ has a good sampler. It can have 12 samples, which can be a combination of loops, which are beat matched, or just one hit samples, and these can be selected and played and stopped from this unit. You can play any of the 12 on 2 sample players, and there's a volume control there as well. So while not quite as while not with the same amount of features and the same amount of finesse of, say, the Serato or Chapter Pro 2 sample decks, Virtual DJ was there first, and now it's got one-on-one control on a DJ controller. For a lot of people, that'll be all they need from a sampler. So it's really good to have that on there, and that's another thing that's unique to this controller. The only other thing that I'd like to point out is the really weird queuing. Now, queuing is where you press a button, normally somewhere here, and put your headphones on, and you can hear one deck while the other deck is playing out to the audience. Queuing is a standard feature of all DJ controllers. I've never seen a DJ controller that does queuing like this one does, because instead of having 2 buttons, it has a knob. It has a queuing knob. Now, when you turn that and you're using Virtual DJ, it doesn't fade as you might expect between the 2 audio sources in your headphones. It just cuts from one to the other. You get to the middle and it goes ping, and suddenly you can hear the other one. When you're using the external sources like CD players or record decks, this does fade between the 2. But here's the thing, if you've got a external source and a digital source going, you're turning and turning and turning, the digital source stays the same volume, then ping, digital source disappears and you can't hear the other one because you need to keep turning for the other one to get louder. So it's a little bit weird. That I don't think it would really annoy you. I think you get used to it quite quickly. But I'm just curious as to why that was the system that they've implemented on this model. So, where does it fit in and should you buy it? Well, if you are looking for a controller with all that kind of input and output functionality and you haven't got very much money, then really you should buy this and put up with everything else, because there's nothing else even close with all those inputs and outputs. If you've already got DJ software, and I'm thinking particularly if you've already got Virtual DJ, because that's what it's meant for, in the Pro version, where you can do your own mappings, you can change things around, brilliant controller. You can correct some of the tiny things that I've spotted that really I don't like the way they work. You can correct them in the mapping yourself. Virtual DJ is quite easy to map, and you then have a really smart little controller that is giving you a lot for your money. However, if you haven't got DJ software and you don't need some of these inputs and outputs and extra functions, then you've got a decision to make, because when you buy this, you can upgrade the software to the full version of Virtual DJ to get some of those advantages that I spoke of. However, the upgrade fee is the full price of Virtual DJ. I couldn't see any discount at all there, which is $299, which is expensive. It's a lot of money on top of the price of the controller. And once you've added that money onto the price of the unit, you're getting close to something like a Chapter Control-S2 or a Serato itch-powered Novation Twitch. So there I've just mentioned a Chapter controller and an itch controller, and now a Virtual DJ controller, that are all going to be around the same price with kind of roughly the same functionality, although they all do things differently. So it's not really so clear-cut that this is the cheapest controller on the market to do that kind of thing if you're having to buy the software as well. So overall, I think it's an interesting controller. It is the cheapest controller with a standalone mixer that you can get, full stop. But if you're going to use it to its full extent, you're going to need the full version of Virtual DJ, and then you need to compare it feature to feature with the other controllers whose price bracket it then enters, such as the Novation Twitch and the Chapter Control S2. Chapter Control S2. So there you go, the Gemini Control-7, and that is a $250 $269 US was the street price I found for that when I was looking today. So a great value unit, and the full review is available as always on the Digital DJ Tips blog, and this one is at digitaldjtips.com/CNTRL7. digitaldjtips.com/CNTRL7. Thanks for watching.